Okay. Hello, everybody. We are here for the Audit Committee meeting. Today is August 12th, 5 o'clock. We're at the Annex Building. We do have a quorum. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
No public comments, so we'll go and proceed to the agenda. First item on the agenda, presentation discussion of Audit Committee calendar.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Mr. Board Member. My name is Melida Pinales, and I'm the Director of Internal Audit and my staff member. Okay, for agenda item number 1, the 2026 Audit Committee calendar is as follows. This is our 3rd meeting for the year, and we have a 4th meeting scheduled tentatively for November the 18th. Any questions?
No questions. Okay, item number 2, presentation discussion of pending certain items not completed fiscal year 2024-2025.
Yes, so on this agenda item, I'm happy to report that we only have four items that are currently in progress out of the 103 that were in the list. Management is on the 2 for records retention. They have worked really hard on those 2 items. I want to say they are 99% complete. They should be wrapping them up within the next week already. On the reconciliation of easements, that one is also almost wrapped up, and then the deposits is something that's waiting to be resolved or action taken by the full board of directors. So that's what I need to report on these 4 items.
Oh, very good.
Any questions?
Any questions? Discussion? None. We'll proceed to item number 3, presentation discussion of annual audit plan, fiscal year 2025-2026 status update.
Yes, so this is just a status update on the 4 quarters. So for quarter 1, we have completed all of the following audits. Most of these have already been presented in prior audit committee meetings. For the follow-ups, also for quarter number 1, all of them have been completed. For quarter 2, the only 2 items that are currently in progress, and we are in the completion, we have completed testing. We're almost in the process of report writing and clearing with management on the findings for the information technology, hardware, cyber, and network management, and for the water and wastewater operations and construction. This did take us a little bit longer than expected because they were high risk and they're very big departments.
Sure.
Okay.
Understand.
On the follow-ups for quarter 2, all follow-ups have been completed. Moving on to quarter 3, currently in progress, we are working on key accounts marketing, which that one we have just wrapped up. Enterprise solutions, electrical support service, and supervisory control and data acquisition. We've just initiated these, and everything else has been completed. Any questions? On the status for the follow-up audits, all follow-ups have been completed.
Good. Good.
For quarter number 4, we have not initiated any of these, but we do have a recommendation on one of our agenda items.
Okay.
Okay? And then for quarter 4, we've completed the warehouse annual inventory count follow-up. Any
Okay.
questions on any of these quarters?
No.
No?
Do you have any questions? No. Okay. Thank you. Item number 4, presentation discussion of pending certain items not completed fiscal year 25-26.
Yes, so here we do have 15 items that are still open for fiscal year 25-26. We have been in constant communication with management for all of these items. Most of these are still in progress. So I don't know if you have any questions for anybody in management or anything that I can address.
Just real quick, do you have a question?
Yeah, so these are the ones that are still pending, but what was the total that were closed so far? Más o menos?
We can get that number for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get it to us later. It's
Okay.
no big deal.
Yeah, we do have it. I just didn't write it down.
Which one was yours? Which one do you have a question on? Okay. Yeah. My question is only on payroll, on that one. Right? Because the follow-up report date was last year. Do you think it will be completed this month?
Do we have
Or-
Sergio Delgadillo here?
The audit was completed over a year ago.
Yes, sir, and that's my miscommunication. The timekeepers and approval listing procedure has been done. Then the AOC change process, we actually did create a new portal process that creates substitution, which was the issue, delegation of authority through the AOC process, and it's been completed as well. So both are closed.
So when do you think it'll be complete? I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
Oh, I do apologize. They're completed,
Yeah,
sir.
the echo in this room is absolutely terrible.
Yes,
And
they
the-
are
And the new
completed.
mics didn't improve anything. We should audit the mics, that's what we should do.
I will share that they're not fully completed with the echo. We have panels that we need to install, and that's the second that's going to help with that echo. It removed the noise that you all were feeding at the feedback there, so bear with us.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Just to elaborate, because I know I wasn't very, and I'm raising a little bit better the voice. Is this better?
Yes.
Perfect. Item number 1, we actually drafted a procedure. It's been submitted for signatures and it's been implemented, so it's completed. And number 5, which is the advice of change process. The issue with the advice of change process had to do with substitution of signatures. So when a document was being routed for signature, AOC would be our control document to enter information to our control system, into our financial system. And we actually developed a full-blown new system. And in that new system, we automated a lot of the process, which created a lot of efficiencies. And beyond that, it also documented the substitution of signatures. That's in place, it's been implemented, it's ongoing, and it's working. So it's complete as well.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you, Sergio. Okay, so back to your question, sir. There was initially 83. Yes, sir.
Any more questions?
No?
Okay, item number 5. Presentation discussion of audit reports for fiscal year 25, 26. A, audit reports with no findings. B, audit reports with findings. C, 6-month follow-up recommendations implemented. And D, 6-month follow-up pending certain items not completed.
Okay, so with audit reports with no findings, I'm happy to report that on these 3, there was no findings. We did the Calpine quarterly review, the cashiers, and the unannounced cash count number 7. Moving on to B, audit reports with findings. We did complete the IT application support that had 1 finding. IT solutions and project management had 2 findings, and the substations and relaying had 4 findings. On all these 3 audits, we will be conducting a 6-month follow-up and coming back to the audit committee to report. Okay, moving on to C, the 6-month follow-up recommendations implemented. So I'm happy to announce that we've completed the Southmost Regional Water Authority unannounced cash count 1 and 2 and the warehouse annual inventory count, and all actions have been completed and closed.
Okay.
Moving on to D, 6-month follow-up pending certain items not completed. We have the accounting and treasury accounts payable and the legal services contracts. So on the accounting and treasury accounts payable follow-up, out of the 5, 3 were implemented and 2 are still in or have not been implemented, which is the ECRM project phase 1 Laserfish business process management and the outstanding invoices. Is there any clarification on these 2 that are still open?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. And then with legal services contracts follow-up, out of the 3, there is still 1 that's in progress or not implemented, which is the expired contracts and in the insurance.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready for number 6.
All right, very good, thank you. Item number 6, presentation discussion of amending fiscal year 25, 26 audit plan, annual audit plan.
Yes, so we recently lost one of our team members, bringing it down to just Norma and myself. So I do have here a summary of amendment requests for this plan, for this fiscal year plan. The board had originally approved 26 audits. Right now we have 6 audits currently in progress, and we have 6 that have not been initiated. It would require approximately 920 additional audit hours. So due to staffing constraints, internal audit recommends deferring these 6 final audits to be deferred to 26-27 into our audit planning process. And I have spoken to Mr. Villarreal and making these a priority once we complete these other 6 audits. So going on to the 6 remaining audits that we're proposing to defer to the next fiscal year are what you see up here, and then we have 2 that were on the high, 2 moderate, and 2 low, so we will probably focus on the 2 high being the risk insurance management and the safety and security operations. You have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Do you?
No.
Item number 7, presentation and
I
discussion.
believe Dr. Zamora has a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The first one on that list, can you explain what that is?
Yes, risk insurance management?
Yes.
So risk insurance management oversees different functions, but the 2 that come to mind are any hits to our lines, and anything having to do with billing, how can I explain this? I'm sure not giving any confidential information, or you want to, yes. Any damages?
Hello. My name is Eduardo Martinez. I'm the Safety and Security Operations Manager. The risk department, risk insurance management department, is responsible for a few objectives, right? One of them would be the workers' comp. They take care of everything that has anything to do with any workers' comp issues in paying out or time off, time away from work. That's the workers' comp. They also do insurance management, which means anytime that we have any type of strike where there's loss to BPUB or to somebody else, they take care of the insurance portion of that, right? Like, how are we covered? They also take care of all the insurance for all the facilities to ensure that any facility that we have or any asset that we have, including vehicles, are also insured as well. So aside from that, they also do anything that has anything to do with investigations for when something does get broken. How did it happen? How can we prevent it from happening in the future? That's pretty much the summary of what risk insurance management does.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Thank you. What about the second item?
That's you too.
So the second item is the safety and security operations. Specifically, did you have a question over like what our objective is or what the audit objective is?
What the audit objective is?
So sure, it says review operational procedures and field observations. So the Safety and Security Operations Department, we do security and safety risk assessments, and we recommend mitigation strategies. For example, if we do a facility inspection, right, and we find some vulnerabilities, then we make some recommendations. So basically what this audit objective is to look at what that process looks like and whether we are documenting these processes or not. The same thing goes for the field observations. Field observations are pretty much a inspection of the work that's being conducted. We also document those, and we also recommend some mitigation or risk, safety risk mitigation plans, right? And then we follow up with the department and ensure that those plans are carried out. So to me, the audit objective is to ensure that we're doing those and ensure that they're done correctly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Eduardo is the manager for safety and security operations.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? No, then we'll
No.
move on to
Sorry,
items.
I don't love the idea of it being delayed. But if there isn't a way to make it happen this year, it's okay.
I don't understand what she's saying. Okay. I agree with that. Okay. Any final questions for item number 6? No?
No.
Okay, so then we'll move on to 7, presentation discussion of proposed fiscal year 26-27 annual audit plan.
Carlos, can you put it up? Not letting me.
Please excuse the technical difficulties. We'll get it worked out.
There we go.
Thank you, Carlos. So this is what we're proposing for the new fiscal year based on 2 staff members, Norma and myself. We have advertised, the posting has been open as of Friday. So as soon as the new employee is hired and depending at what level that person comes in, it will probably update the program and add more audits. So it does include the 6 that will not be completed this fiscal year. And then we looked at the second-year risk assessment that was approved last year. So this document will be more than likely be updated. But this is just to take it to the full board during the September meeting for board approval.
Good. All right. Thank you. Okay. I think that's it for you, right?
Yes, sir.
So item number 8, update on management's audit finding rankings initiative. David?
Move the thing forward. Good afternoon, Chair Villarreal and members of the Audit Committee. I'm David Medrano. I serve as Director of Finance here at PBUP, and I'm here to provide an update of our initiative for the evaluation of audit findings. I came to the committee in December of last year and provided a high-level conceptual overview of what the initiative entailed. I wish I could report out that we made significant progress on this initiative, but there were things that happened between December and August that kind of delayed the implementation and kind of having this continue to be a high priority. There were some unexpected extended leaves of absences. There were a couple of rate studies that got popped into my lap that were unexpected. We had some personal retirements, competing reprioritizations of work. But we do have a new CFO, and we have kind of renewed initiative vigor and looking at this and getting it implemented and having it better serve our needs as an organization. How do I do this, Carlos? Excuse me, I'm having some problems with this. Move it to the next. It is, yeah. Okay. So this first slide is just a recap of where we were the last time that I had visited with this committee. I had reported out there were 103 audit findings outstanding across 38 audit reports. I think at that time, internal audit had presented a number that was a little bit less than that, but part of the impetus for this particular initiative was just the volume of items that were classified as findings. So we wanted to kind of corral that to get a better picture of what the significance of the risks were to BPUB. And this is a recap of some of the guiding principles that really drove this particular initiative. One of them was obviously building trust through transparency, collaboration, and honest communication. Also providing a reasonable depiction of BPUB's risk profile with respect to audit report findings. Here are some reference guidelines that continue to guide the initiative. They're all based on best practices for this particular type of initiative. And this is just a recap of where we hope to be able to have the trajectory of the initiative. Q1 of fiscal year, we will re-energize our efforts. We do have a standardized methodology at the conceptual level. It hasn't changed materially from what it is that I presented in December. We hope to fine-tune that over the course of Q2 and Q3. And it's going to require management collaboration and discussion in conjunction with this committee, this committee's input. And hopefully we'll be able to have a working tool that all of management uses to sieve its audit findings through to be able to classify significant findings as opposed to issues that are good to know about and resolve at some point in the future, depending on management's prioritization, and allocation of resources. Where we are right now is kind of the conformance-based approach, which is a condition, and where we hope to get to is based on a risk-based approach, which is consistent with internal audit standards, which I'll be going over shortly. Any questions at this point? No? Okay. The objectives of this initiative, I think key was to establish a practical standardized level approach, which management may use in monitoring and addressing audit report findings. And I think really kind of at the end of this exercise, establishing a common BPUB definition of a finding and a common definition of a risk, because I think it's critically important that we as public servants understand what a risk is, because there's limited resources that we have available to our organization. And we have to allocate those resources judiciously to those that we believe are material risks that we need to address in a very timely fashion in order to reduce the risk profile to the organization. But there's some other objectives that I'd outline here, but I think that for us is critical as far as this initiative goes. There's some working definitions that kind of drive the initiative. Most importantly are materiality and significance. And significance comes from the internal audit standards is a relative importance of a matter within the context in which it is being considered, including quantitative and qualitative factors such as magnitude, nature, relevance, and impact. And here I've outlined a couple of common definitions for what a finding is. One comes from the Institute of Internal Auditors, and the other one is from the government auditing standards. But the first one, I kind of want to make sure I clarify this, is the determination that a gap exists between the evaluation criteria and the condition of the activity under review. But this definition, it really presupposes that some underlying work has been performed, which I'll be going over. This in and of itself is not a finding. It presupposes that an extra step that is consistent with the practices has been performed before it's classified as a finding. And I'll walk you through that step that is, this initiative is intended to implement, that gets us to how we should be, in my personal opinion as an auditor, would be an appropriate way to classify an issue as a finding. And without this step, it is difficult to get to that point. So any questions with regard to my explanation so far? Okay.
No, I mean, I think you're going to go into detail about that.
Okay, I will,
Okay.
yes, sir, yeah. So this is the key step that I believe the Institute of Internal Auditors requires before classifying an item as a true finding. And it gets to the requirements. And the basic, in a nutshell, internal auditors must prioritize each engagement finding based on its significance. If the organization is exposed to a significant risk, it must be documented and communicated as a finding. And then this is the guidelines for the implementation of the legwork to get to a point where you reach over that threshold to call it a finding. A rating or ranking can be effective communication tool for describing the significance of each finding and may assist management with prioritizing its action plans. When determining the significance, internal auditors should consider the impact and likelihood of the risk tolerance, and any additional factors to the organization. So this conceptual ideation of a model is intended to address this particular step so that we look at issues that cross over into the realm of being a finding consistent with internal audit guidelines. So what we have, so the domains that which management will review in evaluating the evaluation of audit findings are kind of around multiple domains that are critical to our operations. So this is, I consider it to be the perimeter that we're trying to protect the company against the penetration of events that occur that put our company at risk. So the domains that we will look at are financial, safety, affordability, regulatory compliance or legal, reputational, service delivery, or ethical culture. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just to make sure I understand, could you go back
Yes, sir.
and repeat the statement about
So,
penetration or?
so the idea, and I think the model will help to maybe further clarify how these concepts can be quantified through a model. So if I can, if you'll permit me to kind
Okay.
of move forward, yeah. So this conceptual working document is intended to get to a point where we can quantify an issue that is brought to management's attention in the context of whether it is significant to be classified as a finding. So, for example, in evaluating kind of a finding, I brought kind of an example, and it comes to us from one of the audit reports that was written in 2025. And the finding is contract coordinators have a contract administration policy and a contracts procedure. However, documents are outdated and not all-inclusive. Contract coordinators are still revising documents to update the new duties and changes in contract process. In addition, work instructions for administrative and maintenance of the contract policy database repository and tracker have not been documented. So this currently is a finding. But if we look at the significance of the issue across a variety of different domains, would it be classified as a finding? So for example, would this particular issue that has been brought to our attention across each of these domains, would the result in a credit rating downgrade or cumulative adverse financial impact that is the equivalent of 0.1% of our most recent net position? No. So the likelihood of that threshold being breached would probably be low on this. So would the finding or would the issue that is being presented to us on the second, safety, cause bodily injury or hospitalization or loss of limb? No. Third, on the affordability, would this particular issue have an affordability issue? Or would it have a regulatory compliance issue? Or would it have a reputational issue or a service delivery issue or issue related to ethical culture? The answer in all of those is no. At some kind of 0.1% perhaps, somehow it could cascade into that. But the reality is, within the context of what the Institute of Internal Auditors is advising, it would not be significant. It is an issue to bring to management's attention, but we have only a limited number of resources, and our approach to management is to allocate those resources judiciously and not wastefully. So this model is intended to provide guidance so that we can allocate our time most appropriately to events that if we didn't address the finding or the issue that's brought to our attention, it would breach one of those impact thresholds. Does that make sense? Okay, so the idea is perhaps over maybe the next 12 months, management and audit can collaborate together to come up with maybe a common understanding of risk and how to quantify that. And this is just an initial throw it against the dartboard. But if this thing is going to work, we need to come together and agree as a team that these things that don't hit these marks are something other than the true definition of a finding. And that's okay. I've seen that work in other places too. And there's going to be people that agree, that don't, but this at least gets us on the trajectory of moving in the direction where we quantify risk, allocate resources judiciously, and get issues resolved that are of risk to BPUB that we need to address. And so at the end of the day, we hope to be able to have a model that will allow us to bifurcate or trifurcate issues that we need to address pretty immediately, ones that are good to know, but if we don't address it in the 0 to 12 months, it's not cause for concern. It's not management not doing its job. It is management allocating resources judiciously. And then this one, ultimately, we as a collective BPUB team can come up with and present to this committee kind of a scatter plot of where all of these things are. And we hope at some point not to be at 103. We hope to be at a much more manageable level and address the issues that need to be looked at and bifurcate those as opposed to findings that we need to get moving on. And that's kind of the concept right now. And I wish I could say that we have made tremendous amount of progress, but we're not there yet. The concept that management introduced to this committee in December is being revived again, and we hope to be able to go through the exercise of looking at a finding and running it through that model, and then being able to see where it ranks, and then getting much better in the use of the model, so that we all can understand what is a risk versus what is not. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have or concerns that you may have regarding this idea.
Okay. Dr. Zamora, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So the example that was given seems like an important thing for the utility to address, for management to address. So I'm not sure that, you know, the explanation that was just given is something that I buy, that, you know, that this is being done to, you know, for better allocation of resources. I understand everybody's busy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it seems like good practice to have adequate procedures in each department of the organization. I don't know. So I would like to hear what Mr. Martinez and Mr. Villarreal have to say about this.
Yeah, I think as a concept, it makes sense, right? I think there's details there that, as you're saying, we need to understand so that we can better understand the assignment of priority for the different findings. So I understand the concept, and maybe you had one example, but for me, I would need to go through additional examples so I understand, and then I can tell you I agree or don't, you know, or disagree. You know, obviously we have limited resources, and we want to make sure that we are protecting the organization. Not everyone's going to agree to the level of urgency or importance, and I think that's where the collaboration can come in for us to determine that. So conceptually, I think it, you know, as I said the last time, I'm open to it. I think we just need to go through the details. Obviously, we would go, you know, with internal audit now to understand their perspective, you know, and we can listen to, you know, the different perspectives, and we can help bring those together, you know, so in some way. So I'm okay with it. I think the other thing that we've said just as a committee is there's stuff that's open out there, right? So I think going back to your example, you know, there was at most like 9 months on the ranking that you had on the trifurcation or.
Oh, right. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So on this one here, I imagine that the low it says there 0 to 9 months, right? So maybe the difference is going to be if it's a finding or not, but still, if we have stuff over 9 months, for us is telling us, well, even if you rank it at low and it's still open, it's still going to be an issue, right? So, but yeah, if we can align, that makes sense, and we can understand and be more aligned, in the different potential risks and solutions for that.
I'll say the obvious thing, which is anything that kind of promotes teamwork between departments and improves the utility. I mean, everyone's going to be for that. And so I hope this is being done in that really with those two things in mind. When there's collaboration for improvement, there's a lot of expertise I would say on the business side, and there's a lot of expertise on the audit side. So if they were to come together to improve the process, 100% I'm for that. I do want to state, though, that, the risk ratings can be very difficult. Audit reports not to management, they report to the board. And board members, they have their different viewpoints of what's important and what's not important. When I look at the list, most of the time, I think like 90% of the stuff on that list is very important and needs to be reviewed. This is to be a matter of the frequency and maybe the depth of the report. I think thus far, the reports that we received, and I don't want to really get into the details of the finding, and if something arises to the level of the finding, I look at it as an issue. There's an issue here, it needs to be resolved. If it's not a major issue, then it should be resolved very quickly, right? One big thing that I would hope that you guys would address would be the delay in the responses. I don't really see that as a resource issue. I see that more, there's this natural friction between auditors and the business folks. That's been around forever, and it's going to continue to be there. So that culture of, hey, we're going to support, hey, we're going to respond, that's just as important. We can go through this whole exercise and we can do this risk rating, and this is great, but that we're getting responses not, 9 months later, 18 months later, then what's the use, right? It just tells me people aren't taking this seriously. And so I applaud, you guys willing to step up and to work collaboratively with the internal audit so we can improve this whole process. But I think there's some of the other issues that we have to address as well, okay? So I would love to see some examples, some modeling. This is what it would look like, and then we can kind of take it back to the board and say, yeah, we agree that, yeah, this definition fits. Yes, these things are priority, and let's do that. Right now, we don't have a model that does that. We're basing it off of expertise and consultation, and then ultimately we have a final say of what goes up and what's the priority. But if something can be provided us to be more objective in our processes, 100% all for that. Okay, so I look forward to seeing what this turns out to be, and I hope that we continue to work collaboratively on it. Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Zamora, do you have any other comments?
No, I think that we are all aligned, and so one thing is even if something is not labeled as high risk, I don't want that to be licensed for complacency. I don't want that to mean, well, if we don't address it in 2 years, it's okay. I think the audit findings need to be addressed no matter what. And if they're due to maybe some outdated policy, some outdated, procedures that maybe don't serve the organization well, but that's what the auditors are basing the findings on, then those need to be addressed and they need to be updated. So that's, I don't know, that's my take. I do like that this process is being done, and I do like that there's going to be a lot more communication and input from management on this, and so I think there's a huge opportunity, and as a board member, it absolutely helps when we see the if we're going to be able to see the findings, in an easier to understand way, more quantitatively, that would be great. But again, I think like overall, all the findings are important to be addressed for for the efficiency of the utility. That's it. Thank you.
Anything, Gerardo? You okay?
Sorry, my mind is just kind of cycling. But yeah, in the end, I think, I mean, the word that keeps getting, I keep thinking is alignment, right? So I think we need to be aligned from the board, the internal audit, and obviously the rest of the organization in addressing the issues. The more we're aligned as far as high risk, mid, the category, I think the better for everyone. So yeah, keep us in mind. Let us know if we need to have a workshop, if we need to provide any input. We're available
Okay.
to support and learn and understand. And if we need to bring any third party, that might be something we can look at as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, good presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 9, discussion and a request for future agenda items. If there's none, I take a motion to adjourn.
I don't know. You have
You have a comment?
No, I just want to say that, thank you, Mr. Medrano. We will work with management to see what we can come up with.
okay. I don't have anything for future agenda items. Dr. Zamora,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Aye.
everyone.